If you have pre-ordered GTA 6 recently, you must watch this video. The reason being is because I like to remind you guys of a few things that are very, very important. Starting off with the fact that we may not even have Laszlo in GTA 6 since he has already left Rockstar Games back in April of 2020, which is just around the estimated projected year when Rockstar has officially begun development on GTA 6. Now, to keep simple, why he left wasn't necessarily because he was forced out of the company by the company itself, but because he had personal life issues that he had to attend, and it ended up taking a toll on him, and obviously by a normal human standard, he had to withdraw from something very important to take care of family matters. His departure also comes a month after Dan Houser, the co-founder of Rockstar Games, who has also left back in March of 2020, a month before Laszlo hit him up and asked him to form a new studio, which is now known as Absurd Adventures. Dan obviously left Rockstar for his own reason because he was in a disagreement with his brother Sam Houser on the direction of Rockstar, where Sam currently is the president of Rockstar Games. Now, I have a theory on why he was within every right of himself to leave Rockstar Games, especially to take care of family, personal health matters, but I'll get into that thought in just a little moment. Before I do that, I would like to go over some main details on what I would definitely like to remind you of ahead of the release of GTA 6. I would definitely like to remind you guys of a severe case of union busting, which was the biggest in gaming history, that took place back in October of 2025, particularly at the very end of October, obviously done by Rockstar Games, firing 31 employees from the UK and 3 from Canada. This message that I'm about to read to you and remind to you what exactly happened was posted obviously back just a week after the firings were done, since there was a lot of misleading details, misleading info, and other stuff circulating around the web as to how these employees were fired, why they were fired, etc., especially with the company's bogus excuses. And unfortunately, I have proven in an earlier video that this had been coincidentally a lead to why GTA 6 was delayed to November 19, 2026, since the message of the delay of this game happened just a week after these firings were beginning to be announced all over the internet. So this employee makes a forum post on gtaforums.com, which I'll show all the links to of this info in the description below for everyone to check it out themselves. This person states, "Hey everyone, Rockstar employee of many years here. Understandably, I want to remain anonymous due to retaliation from the company." Yeah, no shit. "But I may be willing to verify I'm an employee with Spider-Vice via DM if required. They were also a member of the union. This was confirmed by the said user under this post that I'm reading to you, by the way, so you know this is true. They've been reading a lot of the discussion on there and elsewhere about the firings of more than 34 of their colleagues just that week, or earlier in that week, 31 from UK, 3 in Canada, obviously. I've seen a lot of disinformation and lies that are really concerning, particularly concerning how so many folks are willing to believe Rockstar's excuses. Last week, their colleagues who were in the studio were each individually messaged by Human Resources for a short friendly meeting under the friendly guise of, 'Hey, you free for a quick chat?' Upon attending this meeting, they were handed an envelope with a short letter stating that their employment had been terminated for quote-unquote gross misconduct regarding posts made in Discord. These posts I'm not going to go over, but where these posts came from, I will discuss to you in a short moment. They failed to provide any evidence when asked, nor was any stated in the letter, and did not divulge any other information or reasoning, and just simply stated gross misconduct and no other reason. They refused their right to union representation in the disciplinary meeting, which is against UK employment law, and were frog-marched out of the studio with the meeting lasting less than 5 minutes. I don't even need any friends who are attorneys, paralegals, or lawyers from anywhere around the world to tell you what Rockstar did was illegal, since it was stated by an employee under Rockstar Games who knows more about the law than Rockstar Games. Are you kidding me? Well, anyways, let me continue. For colleagues who were not in the studio that day, they received a phone call from Human Resources that lasted less than 2 minutes, telling them they were fired and that they'd received the same letter as above. They're aware of one employee who had a panic attack at this moment, and Human Resources hung up on them during this panic attack, not caring at all about their well-being. That 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 hurts. The company that I grew up with treating their employees like that hurts. That actually, I don't want to keep this video any longer. That hurts. Let me continue. These colleagues of theirs were hard workers who have spent many, many years at Rockstar in critical roles, with colleagues who have been at Rockstar for more than 18 years, and none of them have ever had a disciplinary in that time. They are not easily replaced and will certainly affect us in making our project deadlines. These were very senior artists, animators, QA testers, designers, programmers, and producers, including leads. All super talented people who were proud of their work over multiple Rockstar titles, and all they wanted was the best for Rockstar and their fellow colleagues. These weren't just simple Tier 1 Rockstar support staff who were useless as heck, that were just prematurely fired and let go, and at least they get to save a bit of money, from useless support members. These were hard-working individuals who dedicated part of their life, the majority of their life, to this company, to be fired unexpectedly. Some of these members were off sick, recovering from surgery, or on paternity leave. Obviously, since they're humans, they can get sick. They have a right to be sick. It's just in human nature to get sick or to have health reasons or health concerns to happen. Which I'm thinking about this. The more I think about this, the more I'm wondering if Laszlo knew something about this was going to happen. Like, in his gut instinct, in his gut feeling, like it was somewhere back there that he just had to leave the company. Like he had a target on his back since he had health concerns for his own family to address, which was definitely taking a toll on him. Understandably it would, and he just had to leave the company. Like, he was spared from being fired by his own gut feeling to just leave the company. I respect this guy even more now. Like, he had a feeling Rockstar's gonna do something just like that, and to avoid that he had to leave, because it was either him leaving or him get fired. Moving on though, fired without pay, losing their careers and putting them into hardships in the lead up to Christmas, and even potentially losing their visas to work in the UK. Let them make this clear, they never saw any discussion or leaking of Rockstar projects in the Union Discord. The only ever discussion was around unionization efforts and the working conditions at Rockstar. The Discord was not public. It was a private Discord group that only contained Rockstar employees and the IWGB union officials. I like to remind you, I kept updates from an actual journalist who revealed info to the public, where in the preliminary hearings, which sought in favor of Rockstar games, they probably bribed the judge to seek in favor of Rockstar to be able to win the preliminary hearings, but I digress. They stated that this Discord is a public forum for anyone to see. This was not a public Discord server. It was private, kept within Rockstar employees. If it even leaked to even one individual, they knew they'd get in trouble. They didn't want to get in trouble for that. The only way that Rockstar truly found out about it was with one of these Rockstar employees who went rogue, in a sense that they leaked this Discord server to two of their higher-ups, which conducted an investigation, in which why these specific members were fired. To keep it simple, this was union busting and nothing else. Everyone fired was a union member, and they're also predominantly from those who are on the union organizing committees of each UK studio. Just 1 week before, the union had reached about 200 members, taking them over the 10% threshold required to seek recognition and begin engaging in collective bargaining. Before I continue, I'd like to keep you guys on a little update, a little note, just to let you guys know on what this 10% really means, why it's important. Where under the UK's Employment Rights Act, a trade union applying for statutory recognition must demonstrate that at least 10% of the workers in the proposed bargaining unit are union members. This 10% was especially crucial since if these members who unionized under the Rockstar Games company wanted to apply for voluntary recognition, where the employer agrees to recognize the union on agreed terms, obviously we know Rockstar Games in a nutshell, they would not recognize this union. So they have, of course, the ability to apply for statutory recognition, where one of the big terms follows that at least 10% of the workers in the proposed bargaining unit are members of the union before the CAC would consider their statutory recognition application, in which it would likely be accepted by the CAC, since Rockstar obviously wouldn't, and they would have to state that we tried, but you know, the company definitely doesn't want to for obvious reasons that I'm going to share right now, where these union members only wanted to unionize to discuss the following key issues with management that affected all of their employees ahead of the release of GTA 6, especially during the development of GTA 6, which included worsening crunch, inadequate pay, and inflexible working arrangements. I'd like to remind you that these posts, or this forum post, was made back in November of 2025, especially by the main person making this forum post. And these accusations were further confirmed. Just the accusations were further confirmed from Rockstar of ignoring pay inequity, mandatory crunch, and weaponizing bonuses, besides other concerns. So these union members weren't just unionizing to protest against the company, they were just trying to seek fairer conditions for their employees, to have fairer, to have like a more optimal performance in the stuff that they're working on, the stuff that they're doing, instead of being forced to work like robots 25 hours, 8 days a week. It's unfair. These workers wanted to unionize to be flexible, to at least give us a good GTA 6, not just force into it and be done with it because we decided we're going to start development late and we need to make ends meet. Of course, later on in this post, since everything else may not be too important to read and I don't want to waste too much time, this person did state, which is truly heartbreaking part, as for us in the union, all of our ambition was to make Rockstar a happier, fairer, safer, and more equitable place. That's all! What has happened clearly shows that we care more about the well-being of our colleagues at Rockstar than Rockstar does, which is sad. So I'm literally telling myself, you expect GTA 6 to be a good game? Just remember, this is going on. I just like to remind you this is going on. Now I'm going to continue this video, because I hope I made my point so far. By the way, if you want to contribute to the fundraiser, I will share that link in the description below for whoever still wants to contribute. And if I forget, please remind me, because I'm busy with other things personally IRL. On another article that I've read not too long ago, especially in front of a paralegal friend. This was posted not too long ago. You could even fact check this yourself because I posted the link in the description of this article. It was posted back on June 17th, 2026. Where lately, a UK employment tribunal has ruled against Grand Theft Auto maker Rockstar in the latest stage of a high-profile legal dispute centered on allegations of union busting. The latest preliminary tribunal decision upheld the right of fired IWGB union workers to continue bringing blacklisting claims against the studio at the final trial, which will run from September 10th to October 15th, 2026. You know what's suspicious about these dates is the fact that this comes at the latest 1 month before the release, the expected release of GTA 6. And I was telling my friends this. I was saying if Rockstar wins, which will be very unfortunate if they win this case will be used as a precinct, as an example for other gaming companies around the globe, that they could illegally fire as many of their employees as they wish for whatever makeshift bogus reason they want to and get away with it because Rockstar did it. Why can't we? But if Rockstar loses this case, they would have to owe a lot of money. They would have to owe these people their jobs back. They would have to owe them retributions, I believe is what they call it. They have to owe these workers a lot, which I hope these guys win anyways. It's not because I hate Rockstar or love Rockstar. It's because it would set an example that you shouldn't F around and find out, as they say. Because you will find out the hard way. And the only way Rockstar could possibly win this case is if they either got themselves, into a plea deal and, in my opinion anyways, got them into a plea deal and actually agreed to help these workers out or bring them and reinstate their jobs back and, move on and hope everyone forgives and forgets, or if they bribe the future judges in these final hearings to say, hey, if you seek favor on us, we're going to pay you all of the earnings that we've made from GTA 6 within the first 24 hours, which is within the 3 billion range, wink wink. Sounds like something Rockstar would do, but they're not going to call it as bribes, they're going to call it as a generous donation to Law and Order. That's just my opinion anyways. Continue reading this. IWGB describes blacklisting as the practice of compiling information about workers involved in union activity in order to discriminate against them. If that's what Rockstar did, truly, if that was what their secret intentions were, I'm sorry, Rockstar. You effed around and found out the hard way. Really hard way. At the latest preliminary hearing between the two parties, IWGB said Rockstar sought to narrow the scope of the dispute by striking blacklisting claims from the case, but was ultimately preventing from doing so. The decision means the ousted union workers who claim they were fired for engaging in union activity can bring those allegations against Rockstar at trial. I want them to bring it to public eye. I want us to know what this info is. I want us to know what the true intentions were. I'm glad they are given a chance to speak their heart out, because it would be complete bogus if they were silenced for good. It would be bogus. You don't know how bogus it would be, but it would be. As noted above, the court case will conclude just over a month before the planned release of GTA 6 on November 19th, obviously, like I told you, which Rockstar parent company Take-Two expects to be one of the biggest product launches in entertainment history. It's probably going to be one of the biggest flops because of their senior developers getting fired within just before the game releases. Either way, I don't want to look bad for GTA 6. This is a Grand Theft Auto franchise I grew up with since before I even went to school. And this is the way Rockstar has turned into GTA 6. I don't know what to say. One of more than 30 workers fired by Rockstar last year described the latest ruling as a huge moment. They stated, "Our case will not be heard in full and put to the test as it should be. The world will get to see for itself the evidence as to what happened last October." There was even someone who said, "We left our work at Rockstar. Losing our passion, our colleagues, and our incomes in the blink of an eye was devastating, and the company management has treated us with disdain ever since, refusing to grant us appeals or respond to basic evidence requests." What? That's the Rockstar we have in 2026? Moving on. After months of fighting to have our voices heard, this is a moment to celebrate. The judgment shows that even against a company with Rockstar's resources, workers can stand together and demand accountability. It's like I've once heard from a friend, maybe a little personal story, hope he understands why I'm sharing this, but he said he spoke to his professor, it was someone that I know. He spoke to his professor when he studied law. He said, yeah, I won a serious case against a corporation who wanted to deny workers' rights to like a couple of hundred, I would say, of a certain company which I won't disclose, which is sort of well known but localized, if I must say, within a certain country or so from across the world from where he lived, and he fought for them and he won. And the professor told him, he was like, you know what I told you, when money overrules the law? In that case, he was proven wrong, because money doesn't matter anything as long as you're willing to fight for your rights. If these workers, I'm bringing this up, I hope he understands that if these workers fight hard for their rights, that no matter how hard or how much money Rockstar will bribe the authorities or bribe the judges, bribe the final hearings, and give generous donations, excuse me for using the word bribery, but giving these generous donations, which I'm sure they will, just to seek favor for themselves, because if we win, we will pay you good. You know, type of thing. And these lawyers at Rockstar, they will definitely fight to win. Oh, they will. Even if it means blatantly admitting to breaking laws that we legally felt was obliged to because of so-and-so reason. How do I know? I wouldn't know, but if it ever does come to a point I get an email saying, hey, whatever you said was suspicious, well, thanks for confirming. Because I don't know, I'm just making a wild guess. With the sense of common sense. You're welcome. Going through this a little bit, they said from the moment employees were escorted from their buildings without warning and throughout every subsequent stage of the legal proceedings, Rockstar has attempted to avoid accountability, obviously because they're a billionaire. Anyways, denying workers a fair hearing, failing to engage with basic evidence requests, and now attempting to limit scrutiny of the allegations brought against them, because they say, you're fired, but you better not say a single word, because we will come after you, and we will call our best friends at the FBI department, because we have a close link with the FBI, to say, oh, you're leaking confidential blah 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 and we want them arrested, and Rockstar's gonna make a bogus reason for that too to the FBI, just to get these workers permanently, silenced. Or they're gonna hire government officials and do the typical government, thing. that they like to do many times, which is, you know, government stuff. It's common knowledge. Whatever. I'm not gonna hide the fact. Sometimes the government's paid to just make someone, you know, not speak ever again, and then they hide the evidence by using masks and other stuff, and go like, hands are clean, they'll never catch us, and then it becomes a cold case. I've heard about stuff like that happening many times. Unfortunately, of many different things. It doesn't have to be related. I hope it's not related. I hope it never becomes to that point with these cases. Which, if it's true and somehow some of these workers suddenly disappear without a trace, that would look really suspicious. So there's a reason why I'm bringing it up, because if some of these workers suddenly disappear from the face of the earth, I wonder why. Anyway, gamers all over the world have seen through these tactics, and now a tribunal has also cast doubt on Rockstar's version of events, obviously, because we can't believe Rockstar's lies anymore. Just because they're billionaires and can, I guess, make as much money as they want to pay people off to turn a blind eye, no. You can pay me $1 quadrillion. I'm still gonna deny it because I believe in fate over money. I'm not corrupt, thank you very much. To finalize this video, I'd like to let you know within the same article, Rockstar maintains the firings were a direct response to employees leaking confidential information in a Discord channel, and which then January, impacted workers were denied interim relief following another preliminary hearing, although it's worth noting interim relief is rarely granted in the UK, which is, I guess, understandable, but at the same time, since it was against Rockstar, and the fact that happened back in January during the preliminary hearings. Who's calling me now? I'm not remaking this video, screw that. Anyways, where I'm pretty sure the judges were blinded from the true evidence and were just told. But then again, the IWGB Workers Union hired someone and gave them the wrong info to fight in these preliminary hearings. That's why they also lost too. Because they were basically told that these workers were fired because of union busting. But then Rockstar immediately said, well, these workers were not recognized as part of a union, so this wasn't a case of union busting. That's how they lost in the preliminary hearings, and that's how they were denied interim relief. I heard about the case. It was made public by a journalist. I even made a video on it a couple months ago, earlier this year. But I like to keep in mind that Rockstar stating that these fines were a direct response to employees leaking confidential info in a Discord channel. I just like to let you guys know, once again, the Discord was not public. It was a private Discord group that only contained Rockstar employees and IWGB union officials. It was a private Discord server. Rockstar liked to consider Discord as a public forum because they have a server that they would like to consider half of it as a public forum. People can just make a post and other people can respond to it. Just because you treat your Discord server as a forum doesn't mean everyone else did. Discord's not entirely a public forum. It's just a place people can use to communicate with each other in private if they wanted to. Keyword in private. At the end of the day, I have much more to explain to you guys if you guys are interested, but I don't want to keep this video any longer than I want to. This is just the main point I want to bring to your attention. So if you did pre-order GTA 6, you can do whatever you want with it. It's your choice if you want to play the game. I'm not going to force you. I'm not here to tell you you can't, you're not, you shouldn't. It's really up to you what you want to do from here on out with your GTA 6 pre-order, whether you've done it on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, or if you're going to wait for PC, which maybe it might release in 2028, sort of, give or take, depending on circumstances that I'm not yet aware of, since that's too far in the future for me to predict. But that's up to you what you want to do. Either way, just know that this is the facts that you're paying for, which is unfortunate. This was a company that I grew up with since I was a kid, since before I even went to school, thinking, you know what? Rockstar was a company back then that pushed boundaries for good, that made other aspiring gaming companies look up to them and say, let's make a 3D game, let's do this, let's do that, let's do whatever we want, and let's do this, and then suddenly games started blowing up all over the place. Like, serious, like 3D era games. Because Rockstar pushed the quality, and everyone else followed up. Now this is a company that's pushing corporate greed, and from what I've been hearing lately, other companies are following up with those ideals too. I'm looking at you, PlayStation. Anyway, I don't want to keep this video any longer than I want. Hope you guys did find this highly informative. whatever you wish to do with your GTA 6 pre-order, do whatever you wish with it, but I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. That is your choice on you. Thank you for watching, and have yourself a great day.